The Alaska blend, they use it for de-icing in Alaska, but we also use it as our crushed trophy rock. So these are all just different gradations, same salt.
What's a trophy rock?
Trophy rock is just those rock. It's just a raw rock out of the mine. We don't do anything to it. It's mainly used like in the hunting and like the trail cam industry. A lot of animals.
Salt lick. So like a salt lick.
But it's actually a mineral lick. So most of it we sell. I mean, we sell it in the West as well, but most of it goes to the Southeast. A lot of those people have private plots with whitetail. They want to keep the deer on their plots, and then also the minerals. They're lacking minerals out there because those farms have been farmed for hundreds of years. So we put this mineral lick out there, and the animals, it just attracts the animals. It's great for the antler growth. It's great for the herd. So we sell a ton of it to the Southeast. So this is more like a salt lick, but with the added minerals. Even like this fine product right here, that's kind of our go-to for everything. We can compress it into blocks. People use it on their sidewalks or their driveways. It's in a bunch of cattle feed, horse feed, turkey feed. So fine kind of goes for anything. But even this is a compressed block because it's got the 65 trace minerals in it. If you were to go out to your horse pasture or with sheep or cows, you put one of our blocks of salt with like a regular block of salt, they'll hit the minerals every time. Animals naturally know when they're lacking minerals, and so they'll always go for the mineral lick.
They're smarter than we are.
Right, they are. All these mountain ranges were formed and earthquakes. That deposit was pushed together and it caused it to come to the surface right here. You can go 20 miles in any direction and you're gonna hit the salt at sea level. In fact, they're mining potash in Moab. They're hitting it at sea level down in Carlsbad, New Mexico. They're hitting this at sea level. Even Delta City, which is, I don't know, 60 miles from here, they're drilling down into this and they're hitting it at a mile deep pretty much. Coming in the south portal.
What do you drill with?
Coming in the south. Did you say what do we drill with? You'll see the drill. We're going to drive by it. It's just a carbide tip drill bit. So we're drilling 16 feet at a time. So everything you guys are looking at right now is salt. The road, the ceilings, the walls.
Oh. The real salt cave.
This is the real salt cave.
Not those ones they slap together.
This is so freaky.
So at least for claustrophobia, it's big and wide open space.
You see the dust that's in the light?
Yeah.
That is actually helping you breathe deep. Most mines you go into, you're gonna get cold. What you guys are breathing, there's no silicate in our salt. So that dust is water soluble. You breathe it in your system. It's like you're constantly breathing in our Re-Lyte. That is the equivalent of going to the ER or to an IV place and getting a saline IV.
Jesse, did you get all that?
I got pretty much all of that.
Yeah, did you get that?
So Kyle, who usually does the tours, he was the mine foreman for 20 years down here. Very seldom remembers having a respiratory illness, even a common cold, because they're constantly down here breathing this air. The temperature you guys are feeling right now, this is about the average temperature year round. So, because we're pumping in outside air for ventilation, it might get a few degrees colder in the winter, and in the heat of the summer, it might get a few degrees warmer.
So tell them what you just said.
I think it smells like diesel fuel.
So that's probably exhaust from the bus.
Yeah. Okay.
All of our equipment down here is diesel. We can't have any gas equipment, which is part, you guys were asking about the ventilation. This area down here is big enough. If we didn't have the ventilation on, the diesel exhaust, that's the main thing we're exhausting out. It never even gets to a dangerous level, but we do have to have the ventilation. The other things we ventilate out. When we do a blast, which is about 2 o'clock in the morning, we'll blast both faces. Just the gases that come from the explosives we vent out. And then mainly is the dust.
So no canaries gonna die.
No canaries gonna die. If we didn't have the ventilation, which we're required to by law, if we didn't have it, we wouldn't have dangerous air. So we try to keep the equipment down here as long as we can. So salt, and I tell this a lot with the road salt guys, you could park a brand new Corvette right here for 5 years. it could have 2 inches of salt dust on it and there'll be no corrosion. As soon as it goes out where there's moisture in the air, raining or snowing, then it's going to cause the corrosion. So our haul trucks that are in and out, a lot of corrosion. The bus that's in and out, are people flying out of here?
Yes.
We've had people with salt shakers that TSA confiscates them. For some reason they don't like white powder at the bottom.
What's white powder?
Yeah, put it in your check luggage.
I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do it with these rocks. In some like really high-end restaurants with Himalayan salt, they give you like a
That's a swear
microplane.
word down here.
I know. I believe it. It's sacrilegious. But they give you a tiny little microplane, and you can microplane your salt over your food.
I'll show you something even better.
Okay.
It doesn't even require a micro. It
Perfect.
actually started off as a joke.
Okay.
We had some influencers down here. It was a group of ladies. One was like health food, one was yoga, one was meditation. And they were doing like a tour of Utah, and they had a chef with them. And so we kind of messed with them. We're like, because you know Salt Bay, that guy.
Yes, totally.
We one-upped him, and so I'll show you in a minute, but
Okay.
you can take all the salt rocks you want.
Okay.
Are there other places around maybe undiscovered yet that are like this, other pieces of land?
So across the valley, when we get to the surface from the office, you can see there's one other spot that it came up. But that vein that popped up to the surface, they tried mining it. The only difference, it had a lot higher mineral content in it. Where with all of our products, so what you guys are looking at on this side and that face is what's considered our road salt, our ag salt, our equine salt, because it has a higher mineral content. Our food grade salt, FDA standards, we can't have more than 2% minerals.
Oh, wow.
And it's not because the minerals are bad for you. You guys could take a chunk of that wall right there and put it on your food. You could lick that wall itself. The only
People
reason
do.
the FDA doesn't want more than 2%
Okay, I want to.
because minerals are not water insoluble. They don't dissolve. So if you were to take one of those rocks with, say it's got 8% minerals, and crush it up, and say you're boiling noodles and you want to salt the water, all those minerals would fall out and you would just have grit at the bottom. So yes, you could eat that, but you'd be eating your food and it'd be like some of the spots you'd be chewing on like sand. Where with the food grade, it only has 2%. So when you look at our real salt, you see the specks in it. It's ground up fine enough, you really don't have chunks you're chewing on. Veins throughout this whole mine, they're almost perfectly vertical, slightly leaning left. If this was in its natural state, we could not mine it like we are. We would have bracing, we would have rock bolts holding everything, because those veins would just fall off. Coal mining, they're strip mining, they're going in veins, taking out. That's why they have to have bracing. This is how we know this deposit in its natural state pushed together and came to the surface. So it's an anomaly in salt, but because of this, it's the reason we can mine the way we do. So how we mine this, and this is way beyond the standards that mine engineers, geologists told us. This space right here, our whole mine is pretty much this 70 feet by 30 feet high. This wall right here is 80 feet thick. And there's a tunnel on the other side. That wall is 80 feet thick and there's a tunnel on the other side. From our lowest point in the mine, just over 1,000 feet deep, that wall is solid. So picture framing your house. These are that as burying holes in your house. They're from the foundation all the way to the roof. These veins act as studs, so like a stud wall in your house. So this mine can handle the pressure being pushed down. Plus it's been underground for 170 million years. So we don't have cave-ins, we don't have to hold it up with bracing. Our tunnels are stacked right on top of each other. So they told us we could go 60 feet, we've got thousands of years of salt, we kept 80 feet. They told us we could span 120 feet, we wanted to be safe, so we span 70 feet.
So how deep did you say that this, between stacks?
So that ceiling right there, 80 feet through that ceiling is the floor of level 3.
Right, okay.
80 feet through this floor. Yep. 80 feet through this floor is the ceiling of level 5. You guys are on level 4 right now.
And that's how many feet below the surface?
We're standing just over 700 feet. 3 levels on top of us and 2 more below us.
How many levels are you actively mining today?
All of them. Salt's a perfect storage area for anything. During World War II, the Mona Lisa, all the artwork, they were storing in salt mines because there's no moisture down here. Evaporation mining. Any white salt you guys have, most of the salt on this planet is evaporation mined. So what they're taking is ocean water, water from the Great Salt Lake, pretty much any coastline you're gonna see evaporation mining. They're taking salt water, they're putting it into a pond, you know, a little bit of water. That evaporates. Once the water's out, you have sodium chloride left over. So that's what they do. They evaporate it out, they come in with equipment. It's still got a lot of moisture, so the first thing they have to do is kiln dry it. They'll run white salt or sodium chloride through a kiln dryer at 1200 degrees, kills everything good in salt out of it. After it's dry, they want white salt to look good on your table. No salt on this earth should be pure white, at least in its natural form. Every salt has minerals in it. Once they evaporate it, some of the minerals fall out, but they bleach it white because they want it to look good on your table. Then the last thing they do, what we do to our road salt, is they add an anti-caking agent. They don't want it to clump up in your shaker, which you'll notice with real salt, you guys have all had it. If it sits for a couple weeks, you have to shake it up. It's because we don't have an anti-caking agent. And then on top of that, figure any salt bed in the world, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Great Salt Lake, any seawater that's out there, how much pollution is in it? I mean, you have bird crap, you have dead animals, you have fish, plastic, microplastics, you know, the ocean, how many oil spills have there been in the oceans? That's what you're eating.
How come there's no like bird, whatever, all that stuff in the salt deposit?
Okay, so you figure this deposit was 100, this was before T-Rex. So you're not gonna have, this is never seen outside pollution. There's obviously no microplastics. If there was, whatever birds were there. So there actually is a documentary on the Sundance Sea. There was little kind of dinosaur fish, but this was before you had the big T-Rex and Brontosaurus. So I'm sure at one point there was some kind of organism or animal that was in this, but it's been hidden from pollution for 170 million years. So our salt, we know this tests out at 98% plus sodium chloride, right? All we do, we make sure we're clean from an area where we've done any drill blasting. We come in here with an excavator, all the way down to the hydraulic oil and the grease on this excavator are food grade. We grind it off the wall, so it looks like this. We'll come down, haul it in a separate stainless steel truck. It goes up to our salt mill. I'll show you right here. Once it gets to the salt mill, it runs across crushers and screens. So that's chunks of real salt. This, what's left in this screen, this is our coarse granular salt. This is what we sell in a bottle. The only thing beyond this point that we do, which you have to do with any food grade product, this will go across magnets just to catch if there was any metals that came from a truck. That'll pick up the metals. That's coarse granular salt. See how clear it is? And then this would be a little bit coarser than what's in your real salt shakers. So this would be almost the kosher. There's one finer that's the regular table salt, and then obviously the popcorn salt or the fine salt. That's it. That's all we do to it.
I get asked this, so I'm asking you kind of, it's going to sound like devil's advocate, but because I want to know how to answer this question. So you say you have 98% pure
Sodium chloride.
right, but other salt brands use as promotional material that they have higher mineral content than 2%. And so people, like, those of us who are consumers, it sounds like, oh, well, we should get X kind of salt because they're only 92% sodium chloride and 8% minerals. And we want the minerals, we want the trace minerals. So how do you evaluate?
So number one, in the States, in America, FDA standards, you have to have no more than 2%. So Himalayan salt doesn't have to meet American standards. So you can have, but like I was saying, the minerals are still great for you. I mean, for example, these rocks, this piece right here, that's almost straight sodium chloride. Very few minerals in it, right? And this wall behind me, 98% of it's pretty much like this. So I'll try not to blend it. You get a piece like this, that's the minerals that are in it. So if you were to take this and dissolve it in a cup of water, those minerals will not dissolve. The chlorides will dissolve. So if someone's saying they have a lot more mineral content in their salt, it's probably not FDA approved, at least in the States. I don't know how the FDA, I mean, that's a national spec.
Well, okay, so like at our conference, was it last year or the year before, there was Redmond, like over here, and then over here was Baja Gold.
Oh, yeah.
So Weston Price endorses like both types of salt.
Yeah.
And yours is 2% minerals, and theirs is higher. Yeah,
it's higher.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're coming out of Mexico, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the standards are different, the specs are different.
But it's coming out.
But
It
it's
takes more salt though, like to make it taste.
have it taste
good.
salty.
Yeah, you have to use more of it too, I think, just to get the taste.
They don't have to abide to US FDA rules even though it's coming out of Mexico.
I would guess not.
And you wouldn't be like bragging like, oh, our salt is better than Baja Gold. Like all these salts are good as long as they're natural and unrefined.
Right. Every salt deposit, okay, this rock right here, I could send to a geologist or a scientist in Germany. He will break it up by the mineral content. He'll say that came from the Redmond salt mine. Every salt deposit on planet Earth has its own fingerprint.
Interesting.
Himalayan salt, probably one of the closest as far as the mineral content to ours. They have a higher sulfur content. But obviously they have different standards than the Himalayan salt. When you're in another country, they have different mining practices. We won't contaminate with any blasting. Once we come to a food grade area like this, we will not blast in this area. We blasted to get past it, but then we cleaned everything out and then we come in and grind it.
Does anybody use your salt rocks like they do with the Himalayan lamps, like turning it to a little lamp? Could you do that?
We have guys down here, I've made a bunch of them.
Have you?
You can definitely do it. I mean, you can take any salt rock. I'm just gonna grab these two. So when your chef brings out your plate, just take 2 rocks above your steak and do that. And we were totally joking with them, and these people have like million followers. They all posted that video that night, and almost every tour I do now, people are like, I need 2 rocks to salt my steak. It's like, we've already ground it for you in a bottle, you can just shake it, but if you want to take rocks.
So I'm telling you, the fancy restaurants are doing that. You're literally, you have your microplane and
So
exactly.
you want to know the
bring in
problem
your
we're
salt.
having with fancy restaurants? So
Yes.
like our salt shakers, we sell, people will put, I mean, not even a fancy restaurant. My brother and sister had like a teriyaki bowl place.
Yeah.
And so I gave them salt to put on their tables. People steal it. Like within 2 days, every one of their shakers was gone. You put 2 rocks like this on a table, people are just gonna pop it.
No, but it's the experience. You don't put the rocks on the
Yeah.
table. The
Only
server
Comes
the
out,
server
comes out.
does it
Oh.
for you.
Can you imagine your server comes out? Tell me when.
Parmesan, black pepper, salt.
Original Re-Lyte, so about 10 years ago, this was Re-Lyte. We were taking our coarse salt, putting it in capsules. People would eat 2 capsules. Anytime you're sweating, I have a lot of my guys that are out in the streets departments. When in the summer, when they're doing asphalt, they're constantly sweating. They buy our Re-Lyte. This was the original Re-Lyte. It was granular salt in a capsule. The electrolyte industry went to, I want a powder that I can mix in my water, and I want to have a flavor, so we reformulated Re-Lyte to what it is now. You guys all have samples of it in your bags. My wife runs marathons. I do a lot of hiking. I hunt all over the West. The original Re-Lyte, she would eat 2 capsules and it would kind of mess with her stomach when she's running for 4 hours because you're 2 capsules all at once. So then I got her the Re-Lyte and she would drink 16 ounces of water with the Re-Lyte right before running. She had to go to the bathroom. My wife will actually run, and when I go hunting, I hike, I'll take a rock like this, she'll put this in her pocket, and about every 30 minutes when she's running, she'll just suck on it for a minute, put it back in her pocket. Because all you're doing is replacing, when you sweat out, you're sweating the salt out of your body.
I know the electrolyte industry is fascinating that they were able to.
$80 billion industry, $80 billion a year. So back to how we mine this salt, a lot of your elements, a lot of these electrolytes that have salt in them, they're using salt, like we said, they're coming off the ocean, the Great Salt Lake, microplastics, pollution. Our Re-Lyte has this salt in it. Nothing does to it.
If you're drinking Soleil for the minerals, they're on the bottom. So what is dissolved in the water?
You're still getting minerals in the water. It's just the big chunks. So I mean, there's minerals, even in this, there's minerals in there. They're just in very small particles of it. The only stuff that's falling out is the stuff that's too big to dissolve in that water. So you're still getting the minerals in it. We don't go through and take the manganese out. I have to bring it down here because I tell this to people, it's all picked out over there. So if you come to an area like this right here, we're looking at these rocks. See the ones that look black? I'm not talking the brown, the ones that are black.
That one?
Like that one. So see how this rock looks black? If you put it on the light, there's black flakes of manganese in sodium chloride. That is the sweetest, highest quality content of salt you can get. So if I was gonna take one to suck on once in a while, I would get one that's kind of black. we probably couldn't notice the difference. I mean, chefs say they want a high manganese content, but they're also brining, you know, dry rubbing. Cool rocks. And you can take the scoop if you want. If you're looking for the bigger rocks. So there's 65 different.
How you doing?
If you guys want to dig some rocks, these screens.
So here's my answer on lead in salt. It really lends itself to confusion. Here's my best attempt to address that. Oftentimes when people talk about lead, they're talking in parts per million, which is really confusing because that's a ratio. That's a percentage. It's basically saying 0.0000001%, right? Parts per billion is only so helpful, and it's different for something we consume a lot of, like water. It has to be a very, very low parts per billion for water compared to something we have so little of, which is salt. What's really important is the total amount of lead you're having and what type of lead, whether it's naturally occurring like this or processed, refined like in your aluminum cans, right? In order to have a dangerous level of lead from salt, it's something like, who's got the little pocket shaker? Does someone have one of those on?
Other person.
I think it's something like 60 of those before it's actually starting to matter. And that's a really conservative amount for it being dangerous. Really, you need way more than even what they put out there. So it would take just more salt than you could eat before it's a problem. So the very conservative amount is 30 grams per day of lead. And again, to get that, you would need to consume just mountains of salt.
So that lady was just full of crap, you're saying?
She's capitalizing on an easily confusable topic to scare people, and who knows, maybe sell some other salt. So this, from what I remember, it's like 60 of these before it's even like dangerous. And like Zach was talking about, minerals, it's only 2% of the salt. And so think of how much of that is lead. It's so small, and you're putting sprinkles, you're maybe doing a teaspoon here or there. It's just, you'd have to consume more than you could consume before it's really an issue.
And can you talk about the difference between naturally occurring lead and why is naturally occurring lead fine?
Because it's not refined into large unnatural chunks that like to bind and cause problems. Naturally occurring in the tiny amounts in these itty bitty parts, the body can process so much better and deal with so much better.
Well, and some
Just
people
like-
say
yeah.
it's the cofactors
I was gonna say
too.
cofactors,
When
yeah.
it comes in this form and it's already got these other minerals, so they all work together, and some are protective, I would believe.
Totally.
For the others.
Yes.
Right.
It's kind of like when you cook meat without adequate moisture in it, the molecules will fuse and bind and create these potentially carcinogenic compounds. In a similar way, when you heat and mix, lead with other things in high quantities, it creates these new molecules that we are not used to, that aren't found in nature. And so, just like someone said, with anything, the natural form we've been exposed to, and it's in a deal withable, form. Probably what happened is someone somewhere, got lead poisoning from these unnatural compounds. And so then a ruling, lead caused damage, so now all lead of any kind everywhere has to be, when it's in all of our food has naturally occurring lead in small amounts. And so it just got blown out of proportion and misunderstood. Yes.
Can you give us your background?
Your name and your background a little bit so we know.
So that we understand in this video.
Yes, I'm Jesse Curtis with Redmond Real Salt. I am the poor man's lead expert, made ready enough to give a brief understanding. Thank you. Of just trying to convey just how small and how natural the amount of lead in salt is, and the foods you eat. Sweet. You're gonna get more lead from a few sweet potatoes than an amount that you could actually get in you of salt.
I think for me, that's more concerning about the microplastics that are in the salt that's
From the
evaporating
oceans.
from the ocean, than I'm worried about the naturally occurring lead that's in a confined mine like this that has been closed off for
Absolutely. One of our instructors who teaches about the salt said some other salt producer said our salt's from an unpolluted ocean. To which the response was, on what planet?
Exactly. Because the table that's going around right now is comparing the sea salt, which earlier we just learned that has all of the other pollutants. So why are we even concerning about lead when there's so many other alarming?
And again, it's the parts per billion. It's just so confusing and not helpful. Another thing that might be helpful, so allowable amount of lead in water, it's so much less because you're consuming so much water. And doing tap water, you're gonna get kind of close to that, dangerous, conservative dangerous amount through consuming all the water you need to, whereas it's impossible to get there with the amount of salt you can.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
I hear what you're saying. We can drink a lot of tap water. We're concerned, oh no, there's lead in this, but we're drinking all this tap water and we're
You
getting
should be concerned about the tap water if you're drinking tap water, because that's got
More than just lead.
yeah, and you're drinking so much of it. A gallon of that, how much are you gonna drink and eat of this? So.
I'm curious, Zach, you said you were going to be more blunt.
I know, I want to hear
wanna
his,
hear
yes, I want to hear what he has to say. Oh.
I would just back up what he says. I mean, the amount of lead that's in this salt, you're going to get more lead out of your tap water. The vegetables are coming out of your garden. There's lead in the soil across the country. So the food you're eating, especially if you're going to a grocery store and getting a packaged products, you're going to have more lead in that than what's in this salt. I think the rough numbers we came up with, you'd have to eat like 6 pounds of this salt a day just to even be
And your kidneys will. You can't.
right.
Your body won't.
You can. So you're going to get lead out of any products, anything you're eating or drinking, no matter where you are. Everything has lead in it at some point. Parts per billion is such a small amount. And like he said, say you have 10 pounds of this salt, 2 pounds of that are actually the minerals, and in that 2 pounds, you have parts per billion of lead in it.
And going back to someone else's point, the microplastics can get in your heart, they can get in your organs. Like, I'd be more concerned about that, honestly.
Exactly.
than
This deposit that you guys are seeing behind us has been underground for 150 plus million years. So this was before dinosaurs, this was before any pollution, no
Before
microplastics,
yeah,
before plastics.
that's awesome.
So this deposit is actually from the Sundance Sea, which we've been told is anywhere from 150 to 200 million years ago. So this was pre-Jurassic era, pre-T-Rex, pre-Brontosaurus. This was before those times. And this deposit, once it was dried up and sealed with volcanic ash, it encapsulated it so no outside pollutions could get to it. This stuff you're looking at has not seen pollution or outside air since before dinosaurs. I mean, what you saw in 3 miles is pretty much what all 28 miles looks like.
Of course.
All of the food is from Redmond Farms. This is our house-made chili. It's made with our house-made bone broth and our grass-finished beef. And I'm trying to think of all the really good things. Of course, our real salt. We have some fermented red onions for you, raw cheddar. These are local sprouts, sunflower. And then, have you guys gone to the farm yet? No. Okay. These are our raw cheese curds. We have a few different flavors. This is local hydroponic organic greens, snuck. We love them. Our house-made dressing, seed oil free, low pasteurized, that one. And then we got our raw honey. This is a Redmond Farms raw honey. Dates, local fruit, grapes. I made a beef liver pate, so it's from our beef that we raise, and it has some of our raw cream in it just to finish it. And then this is a kind of like a bone marrow tallow butter mixed together. raw honey. This is really exciting. So this is our real salt, flake salt. And so this is something we've been working on, and it still has all the trace elements and minerals, but it's that fun texture that we love. So definitely try that out. And we have more cheese curds, so don't skimp. We got lots. And then this is just some chocolate that we love. It's date sweetened. It's got mulberries on one, dates and pecans, but really beautiful, no refined sugar. Local kombucha, water kefir, and then sourdough bread. So this one's a double ferment, and both are wheat organic flour.
Thank you so much.
You're a rock star.
Whoa.
All right, you guys ready? Ready? Let's see if you want to plug your ears.
Fire in the hole!
I'll take that. Go fire in the hole.
Fire in the hole!
Oh, step back. Stand back here and just kind of plug your ears. Whoa! Oh, right over it again.
Go up and down the table. Hello.
Be 3.5 hours.
Because I live in heaven myself.
Sophia. Aaron.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.